Hey, it's Briley. I'm a contributor at Juicebox DAO, and today I'm going to be going over the differences between Juicebox and traditional crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo. We're going to look at the advantages and disadvantages in terms of fees, funding models, rewards, global reach, payout time, and customization. And even though we're comparing Juicebox to Kickstarter and Indiegogo, it's not one or the other. The best option for most campaigns is to also launch on Juicebox so that you can also accept payments in ETH. So let's start with platform fees. It's free to start a campaign, but both Kickstarter and Indiegogo charge a platform fee of 5% of all funds raised. And if you launch a campaign using Indiegogo's in-demand program after launching your project elsewhere, like Kickstarter, they'll actually charge you an additional 8%. Juicebox works differently and charges a 2.5% fee anytime funds are withdrawn from the project. And although creating a project on Juicebox.money is free, you should keep in mind that Juicebox runs on Ethereum mainnet, so there are transactions that could cost $100 or more when launching a project. This will change down the road as Juicebox is made available on Layer 2 chains like Arbitrum and Polygon. Because Juicebox is community-owned, you'll receive JBX tokens in return for any fees paid, which allow you to get involved with Juicebox DAO governance and help make decisions about Juicebox's future. In other words, the community that uses Juicebox also owns Juicebox, which is pretty cool. Now, on top of platform fees, Kickstarter and Indiegogo also charge processing fees for each payment that comes in. For Kickstarter, there's an additional 3% fee plus 20 cents per pledge. And for Indiegogo, processing fees are pretty much the same at 3% plus 30 cents per pledge. Keep in mind that these rates will vary from 3 to 5% depending on your country. Again, Juicebox works a little bit differently and doesn't charge any processing fees for incoming payments. That said, since it's built on Ethereum, supporters will need to pay a transaction fee, also known as gas, when paying your project, which could cost $20 or more depending on network congestion. To be clear though, this is an Ethereum network fee and does not benefit Juicebox in any way. Next, let's talk about funding models. Kickstarter is well known for its infamous all-or-nothing model, where a project sets a specific fundraising target, and if it reaches that goal, it gets to keep all of the money. However, if it doesn't, then all of the money gets returned to the backers. Indiegogo is more flexible with both the all-or-nothing model as well as the flexible funding, which means that the project can keep the funds even if they don't meet their goal. Juicebox works differently than both Indiegogo and Kickstarter, so let's jump in. With Juicebox, project settings are locked for a period of time that you decide. This is called cycles. This could be 3 days, 14 days, 1 month, whatever you set it to be. If you want your fundraiser to last 8 weeks, you could set your cycle to 8 weeks to decide on payouts, which are like your fundraising goal. Juicebox lets you set payouts in 3 different ways. The first option is limited, which lets you withdraw only a set amount each cycle. This gives 100% guarantee to the backers that you can't withdraw more than that fixed limit. So, if you set up a limited payout of 2 ETH and you end up raising 3 ETH, you can only withdraw 2 ETH from that cycle. The remaining 1 ETH could be redeemed by backers by burning their tokens for ETH, but if no one redeems their tokens, then the surplus ETH will stay in the project and can be used for future cycles. You can think of limited payouts as an anti-scam mechanism for backers because the project owner can't take all the funds and disappear. You know how much they can withdraw each cycle. Limited payouts are a great option for campaigns that want to grow with their backers. You can set new goals as you reach new milestones while giving your supporters full transparency along the way. The second option is unlimited, which lets you withdraw as much ETH as you raise with no fixed limit. With payouts set to unlimited, backers cannot get their money back during that time. But this can be changed by setting payouts to none in a future cycle, which gives backers the option to get refunds by redeeming their tokens. Unlimited payouts are a great option for fundraisers that don't have a set goal and want to raise as much money as possible, but this can also present some risk to potential supporters. The last option is none, which means that none of your project's ETH can be withdrawn from that cycle. all of the ETH will stay in the project, which gives backers the freedom to redeem their tokens for ETH and get their money back at any time. This can be changed in a future cycle if you want to withdraw the funds. Setting payouts to none is useful for campaigns that want to give backers the option to get a refund whenever they want. Unlike Kickstarter and Indiegogo, projects on Juicebox can adapt over time, so you can set your payout limits and cycles as the needs of the project evolve. For example, maybe your first cycle is 60 days long, with a limit of 50 ETH for your initial fundraise to cover manufacturing costs, whereas your second cycle is 120 days long, with a limit of 20 ETH to go towards marketing. Instead of being locked into a fixed campaign length of 60 days or less, you can fundraise long-term on Juicebox and edit your project settings over time. You can also put your project on pause and stop accepting payments if needed. Moving on, the next category we'll look at is rewards. So if backers meet a certain funding criteria, they can receive perks. Crowdfunding campaigns that use rewards often have a higher success rate than those that don't, because they create incentives for a variety of backers to support your project at different price points. On Kickstarter, you can offer as many pledge reward tiers as you want, but backers can only choose one reward per project. It's also worth noting that for all US-based projects, there's a limit of $10,000 in place for pledges. So you can't offer rewards at a higher price point than that, and you can't raise more than $10,000 from a single supporter. Indiegogo's rewards are more flexible, allowing backers to contribute multiple times to a project to receive multiple rewards. Though projects on Indiegogo can only offer up to 10 pledge rewards, supporters can pay up to $50,000 in a single transaction and make multiple transactions if they want to support a project multiple times. On Juicebox, you can offer as many reward tiers as you like using NFTs. These NFT rewards can be listed at any price and can be represented by an image, GIF, or video. You can choose to set a limited or unlimited supply for each tier. So, for example, you can make a higher tier more exclusive with only 10 available versus more accessible lower tiers with up to 100 available. Supporters can contribute as many times as they like with no contribution limit and can receive multiple rewards if they choose. Juicebox also offers advanced tokenomics features which allow you to set aside tokens for members of your team and create incentives for backers to support your project early and stay engaged long term. If you'd like to learn more about tokenomics for Juicebox projects, check out Part 1 and Part 2 of our tokenomics tutorial, which we'll link in the description. The next category that we'll talk about is global reach. Kickstarter is only available in 25 countries, mostly in North America and Europe. Indiegogo used to support 225 countries when they first launched, but have since cut down to 33 countries. On Juicebox, it doesn't matter where you're from. You can launch a campaign from anywhere in the world and have backers from around the globe support your project. Anyone can also launch a campaign on Juicebox, whether they're an individual, a nonprofit, a company, a DAO, or any other organization. As long as you have an internet connection, you can use Juicebox.money. The next category that we'll look at is payout time. On Kickstarter, once you reach your funding goal, you have to wait 14 days before you can receive funds from Kickstarter. Indiegogo is similar with a 15-day wait before receiving funds. On Juicebox, you can send payouts from your project anytime during the cycle, within the limit that you set when creating the project. For example, if your project has a 14-day cycle and limited payouts of 10 ETH, you can withdraw funds at any point during that 14-day cycle to the limit of 10 ETH. You can do this all in one transaction or in several smaller transactions along the way. And if you have unlimited payouts set instead, you can withdraw funds at any time during the cycle with no limit. The last category that we'll cover is customization. Kickstarter and Indiegogo are pretty much the same. You can choose your project title, add a description, and images or video. On Kickstarter, videos can be uploaded directly, whereas Indiegogo makes you choose between Vimeo and YouTube. On Juicebox, you can set a display picture, banner image, add a description, and customize your project's URL with an ENS handle. Adding images and videos to your project description isn't supported on Juicebox.money, but the front-end team at Peel is releasing a brand new project page in the next month. So stay tuned for a fresh new design and new features like the ability to add images, text with Markdown formatting, and post updates as your project develops. All right, so we've covered a lot of differences between Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Juicebox. For me, what makes Juicebox stand out from traditional crowdfunding platforms is its flexibility when it comes to how you want to run your campaign. You can launch your project and get support from anywhere in the world, set new goals for your campaign as it grows, use tokens to build community and offer perks and incentives for supporters, and stand out in a marketplace that's not oversaturated. Best of all, this happens transparently and out in the open with clear rules in place so you can see how much money can be withdrawn and where it will go, who has backed the project, and if project settings are changed for future cycles. I think Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Juicebox all have their pros and cons. So my advice is that you should combine traditional crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo with crypto crowdfunding on Juicebox. This lets you get the best of both worlds while bringing your project to a new audience by accepting payments in ETH. Alright, thanks for watching this video on Kickstarter versus Indiegogo versus Juicebox. If you want to stay on top of the latest happenings in the Juicebox ecosystem, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter, which I'll link in the description at subscribepage.io/juicenews. If you have any questions or want to introduce yourself and a project you're planning to launch, make sure to join the Juicebox Discord community at discord.gg/juicebox. You can also book a one-on-one onboarding session at juicebox.money/contact.